Hey guys, welcome. Welcome to this lovely Tuesday evening, morning, whatever you're having now. Let me check what's going on in here. Let me know if you hear me well. Let me know if you see me. Oh, yes. I just launched a live stream. Just want to make sure that everything is working perfectly well. Hello. Hey, 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 hey. Okay. Traditional. Let me know which country you're watching from, and because this is an MBA admissions Q&A, I'm going to talk about MBA admissions and MBA in general. I want to know, when are you planning to start your MBA? Hey, hey, hey. Brazil. Yesterday I met amazing people from Brazil, filmmakers. Ecuador. Yeah, here in LA. I'm still in Los Angeles. Probably next Tuesday I will still be in Los Angeles. Sweden, India. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I'm aiming for Stanford GSB. Yes, Stanford GSB is the top, well, one of the best MBAs in the world. Moscow, Ukraine, Italy, Philippines, Egypt. Nice, very nice. Very nice, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. I hope everyone is here. Everyone who's interested in doing their MBA. Yeah, let me know when you want to start. I see your countries now. Perfect. Very vast geography. Turkey, Sudan, Moscow, Iran, Brazil, India. Yes, Argentina. That's perfect. Hey, thank you, thank you. Okay. Yes, so let me know when you want to start. What are your current steps? Like, what are you doing right now for your MBA? Wow, Scotland. That's great. Colombia. Amazing. Yeah. Oh, North Korea. That's interesting. Okay, so let's go. Yeah, that's correct. Let's go. First thing, I haven't done my MBA. I have been admitted to my MBA program, which was the University of Florida MBA, but I have never gone through the program. But I have a lot of friends who have done their MBA in Stanford. I have a very good friend who's doing his Harvard MBA right now, and we actually made a video with him. His name was Vlad, if you remember. Then, what else? What else you should know about my experience? Oh, that I got full ride scholarship to do my MBA from the University of Florida. And I know a lot of people who got like 80% scholarship. We have an employee in LinguaTrip who has received almost 90% of financial aid, which also covers her, not only her tuition, but also her like living expenses, including her student insurance. So yeah, a lot of different things that I wanted to share. Okay, so the first thing will be really general. It's about like whether you need MBA at all. Traditionally, MBA is a program that you take when you already have some background in, for example, consulting or finance or VC, like venture capital, banking, whatever. And then you realize that you need to grow. You realize that you want to go from analyst to managing partner, for example. And many companies like, we take Citibank, for example, you won't be able to become a C-level executive or like vice president executive or a partner without having your MBA. So you won't be able to manage other people and manage a substantial amount of people unless you have your MBA degree. And traditionally, companies would send their employees to do the MBA, and companies would pay for it. That's why the MBA program is the most expensive program in the world. Like if you compare it to bachelor's, like whatever, MBA on average would cost a lot more. And if we like look at some universities in the States, Stanford would be around 200,000. That's what you would need to pay for your MBA. Again, because this is like, traditionally, this was a B2B program, so universities sold that program to companies, and companies sent their employees and paid for them. But more and more people are doing an MBA program without being paid by an employer. So they just realized that, okay, I worked in this industry for like 2 or 3 years. I want to decide what I want to do next. And many people actually want to start their own companies. That's why they do an MBA. Some people want to change industry. It doesn't really matter what your goals are, because 90% chance they're going to change. So yeah, so you really, really need to decide why you want to do your MBA. Sometimes MBA is not the best option. And again, this is my personal experience. This is what I think. But MBA is a program where you get the network, where you get, knowledge in different spheres. Because again, if you want to become a manager, you want to be sure that you know what marketing is. You want to know how finance works. You want to know how to manage people, how to negotiate. So there are loads and loads and loads of subjects. But if you want to dive into one particular subject like finance, MBA would not be like the best program, because masters in finance would be a lot more beneficial to you. MBA is a program that lasts on average 2 years. And I'm talking about the United States, by the way. And masters normally last for 1 year. Why 2 years? Because during the MBA, not only you study the subjects, but you also have to network. And I've been to a lot of like MBA sessions in Stanford and Harvard, and what students said is that they spend 50% of their time networking. And many of them don't even do their homework, because they realize people that they meet during the program, people that come to the university to give speeches, they are more important than learning what, I don't know, financial analysis is. But it depends on every single person. But yes, you have to allocate a lot of time to social networking events. You need to allocate your energy in order to build your network. And MBA program is structured in a way that you have like 3 or 4 lectures a day, but then in the evenings you have a lot of speeches and maybe like networking receptions. Very cool people. So if you study in top universities, you get the best network. This is why many people claim that the best MBA experience would be in the top 10 universities. Do not go lower. This is something you can, talk about and think about. My opinion, yes. Well, if you want to build your network, of course, your network will be better if you study in Stanford or Harvard. But in my case, like 3 years ago, I was like, I want to run my company and I want to run it on an international level. And I don't have any background in being an international entrepreneur. I am in Russia. My company is in Russia. How do I get on this, international level? And the only feasible option for me was doing an MBA. And then I thought, I don't have enough finance. I don't have an employer who's going to sponsor me. I don't have rich parents who are going to sponsor me. So I had to figure out an MBA that gives full financial assistance. And if we look again at top universities, they are not really generous in terms of financing your MBA. They would provide you some scholarships, but they're not going to cover whole tuition, all of the living expenses. They do not have to do that. And normally they would provide you with a loan. And also another thing to remember, there is 5% chance that you get into Stanford MBA. There is 11% chance that you get into MIT MBA. Around 13% chance, 11% is for Harvard. Around 13% chance for MIT Sloan Business School. So the chances are really, really low, and I couldn't risk. So I selected a university that is ranked, I think in the MBA ranking, it's ranked number 35, 40. So it's not a top university. They don't have the best network in the world. But I figured that I know where I want to go, and I'm already on the way to build my international company. So I thought, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that I start next year, not in 2 years, not in 3 years. I start now. And this is a decision you need to make. Because if you are in this, I don't know, in an international company like Pricewaterhouse or KPMG or Boston Consulting Group, if you work for a big bank, then you are that typical person who would get in. I would say you're a typical person who would get into like top business schools, given that your GMAT is strong enough. because normally when all of those universities that they claim that they have different backgrounds of students, but when I really talk to the students, I realize that maybe like 80% come from corporate background. It's not like they take a lot of entrepreneurs. I've seen a couple of entrepreneurs, but these guys had like 50 employees working for them, and they had like huge company, not a small startup. And so yeah, again, evaluate yourself against the average student profile. Every good MBA program would publish the average class profile on their webpage. Actually, I'm going to show you the MIT's average class profile right now. Just give me a sec. I need to pull that up. MIT MBA. So MIT MBA is something that you can consider if you want to aim for a top school, but you are not sure that you're going to get like in Stanford. Okay, because again, as I said, the admission rate is higher in MIT. Okay, application window, share. All right, so what you see now is MIT MBA class profile. This is class of 2019. Please do not mix it up with people who get in the class in 2019. These are people who are going to graduate in 2019. The class size is 400 people, which is, I would say that's a lot, but I think Harvard has more than 1,000. Work experience, again, average is 4.8. This is something you need to consider. Oh, by the way, do you see my screen? I just want to make sure. Okay. Oops. Yeah, let me, please let me know if you see the screen. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm not, oh, sorry. Now you see a different one. Okay. Right. Okay, I hope you see it. All right, so average work experience, 4.8 years. What does this mean? If you have less than that, well, it doesn't matter. You can come and study in MIT with even 0 years experience. But I would say your profile will be a little weaker. Again, they're looking for a consistent class where everybody comes into the classroom and has something to share. If you don't have an experience, if you don't have experience, then maybe you would have less to contribute to the class. And if you don't have experience, I would try and emphasize other things that you're good at. Maybe it's your GMAT, maybe it's your volunteering experience, maybe it's your publications. Because again, they want to be everyone, they want their students to be interesting to each other. They want their students to come together and share and share and share. Because again, as I said, networking is a huge part of an MBA. Average undergraduate GPA, just to remind you guys, the maximum GPA that you can get in the United States is 4. So 3.49 is a, average GPA. GMAT, average, 722. Again, in order to have better chances and get admitted, I would suggest being a little higher on every single criteria. So a little more years of work experience, a little higher GPA, a little higher GMAT. But again, I know that it is also something that you need to work hard for. If you want to receive financial aid, then you should definitely be better than everyone else. If you just want to get admitted, you can be in the average section. So GMAT average 722. I would say if you have your GMAT lower than 690, do not apply. You have less chance. Only if you have something cool in your background, like maybe you sold a company for a couple of $1 million, or you have been promoted faster than anyone in Boston Consulting Group. That's something interesting. So if your GMAT is lower than the median, then you should provide something that is really impressive and why the university would say, okay, he might have not done really well his GMAT, but we see that he's like super amazing and running his company. Because Harvard says that they had, I think they had a student who scored like 490 on GMAT. And you should know, guys, that the minimum that you can score is 300 something. So if you just come to the test and do nothing, you still get 300 something. So 490 is like really, really low. But I guess that guy was pretty impressive, and he had maybe like cool background. You can also take GRE, and here are the scores for the GRE. But I would say if your goal is MBA, do the GMAT. Okay, this is gender. This is US citizens versus international students, country of origin, and what else is here? Background, engineering, business, economics. Again, as you see, people come from really different backgrounds. Previous industries. Okay, financial services, 21% probably from a bank. Consulting services, KPMG, Price Waterhouse, whatever. Technology, media, telecom. As you see, like, what does that make? Almost 80% of people come from corporate background. These might also come from a corporate background as well. Okay, so I will stop sharing now. I hope, guys, you saw whatever I was showing you. Okay, so when you apply for your MBA, create a Google Doc for yourself. Put in the program name, link to the program, average GMAT of students who got accepted last year, average work experience, average GPA, and then compare yourself. I would suggest having at least like 8 or 9 universities that you are interested in, and you want to make sure that you're going to afford them, or if they provide necessary financial aid. And once you have those 8 universities, they have to be in different rankings. Don't do like Stanford, Harvard, Columbia, Yale, MIT, Brown, Chicago, Booth. Don't do that. You have to diversify in order to increase your chance of getting accepted. So I would say pick up 3 top schools. Again, top schools based on your personality, not just because Stanford is number 2 or number 3. Harvard is number 1. Okay, not just because they're number 1, but because you feel that you have similar backgrounds to current students. If you think that you are, again, I have never applied like to those top schools because I realized I want to do that next year, and I realized I don't have that background. I have never worked for anyone except for just my company. So I thought, why should I apply and waste $250 on the application fee and waste a lot of like extra preparation time? So create that table for yourself. Then go and pass GMAT. And once you see a score, you will be able to navigate up or navigate down in your table of MBA programs. And this way, you're going to make the right decision. Because before you take your GMAT, you won't be able to tell how much you're going to score. Well, you can take practice tests at home, but then once you go there, you can get something like unexpected as well. In my case, I got, I think 690, 670, and then 720 on practice tests. And when I went to pass my GMAT, I scored 700. So it's pretty much average of what you're getting at home. But really pay attention to that. Okay, I'm gonna go to your questions now. I wanna do something interactive because I'm talking like blah, blah, blah all the time. 250 just for the application? Oh yes, this is crazy. And they don't do application fee waivers. So yeah, I think Stanford, Harvard, MIT, they all charge around $250 per application. Again, if you go down the ranking, University of Florida charges maybe like $30, and they waived the application fee once I told them I scored 700 on GMAT, and I asked them whether you waive application fees for GMAT scores like mine. They were like, yes, of course, apply for free. Many famous and successful entrepreneurs, Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, don't have an MBA degree. That's true. That's totally true. But again, this is not something I would consider. Like, if you are a genius, you are probably doing something right now that is changing the world. Of course, do not waste your time on an MBA. Of course, don't. But if you cannot figure out what you want to do in your life, and if you figure that you are unable to create something right now, maybe it's better to go and get that degree and meet those people and think of whatever you want to do next. Of course, if you're building something like the next Facebook or you're working on a SpaceX, of course, don't do your MBA. Like, genius people don't waste time on that. But some people take their time to realize what is their passion, what are they good at. And, sometimes you can just figure it out till you're like 35. And sometimes you do your MBA and you meet your future co-founders and you start a business together. There's a good example. If you are from the United States, the service, what was their name? Okay, this delivery service, they started in Palo Alto. They've both done Stanford MBA. They dropped out after year one. They started a delivery service and raised tons of money, but they only met each other during the MBA. Before that, they only had dreams of doing a startup. How can I get a scholarship to study abroad in the university? Okay, because we're talking about MBA right now, you need to look for universities that provide scholarships, and you need to compare yourself to the average student. As I was just showing the average class profile, and you need to be higher than the average student that got admitted last year. That's very important. And also figure out whether the program provides financial aid, because as I said, top universities, they would cover some costs with scholarships, but they would also tell you like, okay, we expect you to earn some money yourself. If you haven't earned that amount of money, then you can take a loan from us. Yes, delivery service for food, but it's not seamless. It's deliver something. I can Google it. Oh my God, I forgot the name. Let me see. Food delivery service, Palo Alto. Interesting. Okay, DoorDash. Here we go. It's called DoorDash. How much in total do we need? Okay, let's calculate your costs. First, there are admission costs. And you need to figure out your GMAT fee, right? GMAT costs around $285 to pass the GMAT. Second, you would need to pass TOEFL or IELTS exam, which is a language exam. That one costs around $180,000. Oh, what did I just say? $180. I will be calculating. I'm sorry. And we are assuming you do not have to travel for those exams, because I had to travel. I had to go to another city because in my city, everything was fully booked. What did I say? $285 for GMAT, and then maybe $180 for your TOEFL. This is $465 just for your exams. Then you are applying to your universities. So let's assume you're applying to 2 top universities and 3 average universities. So you're going to pay like $250 for your Stanford, let's say, application, $250 for your Harvard application, and you have 3 universities that charge, let's say, like $30 each. Okay, I was doing something wrong. I'm so sorry. 250 plus 250 plus 90 plus 285 plus 180. Okay, that's $1,055. Next thing, once you pass the exam, so once you register for your TOEFL, you can send 5 results for free. But all of the, if you want to send your results to like 6 or 7 universities or 8 universities, you have to pay extra $28. So let's assume you're sending 3 extra scores, just in case. And then you're sending 3 extra scores. Why is it calculating in this weird manner? Sorry, I just got my new phone and I'm still struggling with it. Okay, so the total admission cost, like application cost, would be around $1,300. That's exams, application fees, sending your scores to universities. And then there's the cost of the program. And if we look again at the top universities, like Stanford would charge you, $200,000 for 2 years. But then they also offset the costs by providing scholarships, assistantships, fellowships. On average, I would say, if you haven't earned a lot of money, if you don't have a lot of savings, they might cover up to 80% of your tuition fees. But then the rest, like the rest 20%, you will need to cover yourself by taking a loan, or I don't know, by including your savings. But this is top universities. If you look for universities that provide full financial assistance, for example, University of Florida, as I said, they provide full financial assistance to select students, not to everyone, but to those who are above the average student who studies University of Florida MBA. Okay, guys, please use English language, because I'm gonna block people who speak other languages. Please be respectful to each other. Okay, TOEFL allows only free score reports, and we have to mention it 24 hours before the exam. I know, yeah, that's why I said have a list. Actually, take your GMAT first. This would be another tip from me, guys. Take your GMAT first. This is more important, because your GMAT would actually help you select the right university. So if you have this list of like 10 universities, and the first is Stanford, the last one is University of Scranton. This is, by the way, the 6th university I applied to. They provide full financial assistance for their MBA students, but they are ranked number 250 in the whole United States. So, but this was my like safety university. So again, let's assume you take a GMAT and you score 700, like me. This is below Stanford. This is below Harvard. Maybe you can try MIT, but I wouldn't. No, their average was, we just looked at it, was 720, right? So I wouldn't really risk, and I would go down. So you select like 5 universities that you can apply to. And you already know you're processing these applications, and the next exam is TOEFL. So yes, you send 4 scores for free, and then you pay for 1 extra. I would suggest applying to 5 or 6 universities and taking your GMAT first, because this exam is crucial. Like if you do not pass your GMAT and get the score that you need, then you're just not going to apply, right? There are no good universities, there are no good MBAs that allow you to, you know, apply without a GMAT. This is, well, I would suggest like starting with the GMAT. Scranton home to Dunder Mifflin. Dunder Mifflin? Okay. Nobody said MBA is necessary to be successful. That's true. That's totally true. But sometimes, you know, some people are stuck in their lives and they want to do something new. And MBA is, many people call it like a holiday in their lives, because they network, they study, they have great time. Sometimes you just need it in your life. Where do you study? I do not study. I run my own company, which is linguatube.com. Okay, GMAT is the exam that there is a very basic question. What is the difference between GMAT and TOEFL? GMAT is an exam that tests your maths, and the math is really basic in GMAT. I would say your school maths is good enough for that. It also tests your analytical skills. Okay. I'm currently doing my master's full scholarship in Scotland. Congrats. United Kingdom under Commonwealth Commission. Thinking of having my PhD in the USA. What advice can you give? Guys, this is an MBA session. I would suggest we talk about MBA mostly, because I know some people came to just talk about the MBA. What are the top universities in Canada for MBA? That's a great question. I know many people are considering Canada because Canadian MBA is cheaper than MBA in the United States. There's the University of Toronto, there's McGill University, and University of British Columbia. 3 universities that have top MBA programs. There are also some others, but I would say these are 3 biggest names in Canada, and something you should consider. I have overall 6 on IELTS, not less than 5.5. Unfortunately, this is not enough to apply for your MBA. Normally, the MBA programs will require 6.5. Good MBA programs will require 7.5. So I would suggest like stopping for now. And if you want to do your MBA, start with your GMAT. Like your IELTS doesn't matter, because maybe you would take, I don't know, 2 years to prepare for your GMAT, and then your IELTS will just expire. So this is why, again, guys, start with a tougher exam, Because if you start with an easy exam like IELTS or TOEFL, you might not have enough energy to continue with your GMAT. Do the tough job first and then just relax while preparing for TOEFL. What do you think about studying in Germany? I studied in Germany for 1 semester, but as I said, this is not my country. I like United States more, especially in terms of business. Average salary after MBA in the USA. Again, depends on the school. Average salary after MIT, I guess, was $189,000 a year. Almost the same for Stanford. But if you go to lower ranking schools, then the salary would be less. Okay. Yeah, I'm just reading your questions. Do you need GMAT for European universities? Yes, you do. Okay, something else I wanted to talk about, other parts of your application. You provide your GMAT, that's something that we talked about. You provide your TOEFL, something that we talked about. There is another part that is really crucial, is your motivation letter. Many people ask me what should they list as their goal, because they do not know what they're going to do in 2 years. And this is totally fine. Like 90% of students change their mind 2 weeks after they start their MBA program, because again, you're entering a completely new world. You're meeting lots and lots of people from different countries, and you realize that something you thought of is not something that is really interesting, but something else is amazing, and you want to transfer to, I don't know, starting your own company, or instead of starting your own company, maybe you want to join a big corporation. That doesn't really matter. But at the time of admission, the admissions committee, they want to see how determined you are. They want to see that you have a plan. They don't want to see motivation letters that say, hey, I don't know what to do with my life, and I decided to start your program. Maybe it would help me decide what I want to do in my life. No, that's like totally wrong. Don't do those letters, because admissions committee wants to see people who are determined. And this is good for any level of education, like master's or PhD or whatever. So you have to be really determined about what you want to do. And it's okay to change your mind later. But in my application, I said that, yes, I want to grow an international business, and I don't have any background in running international companies, and I haven't really studied abroad. Well, I did this semester in Germany, but that's it. And this is what I concentrated on. That was like really, really important. So show them that this MBA program is an inevitable step on your way to reaching this highest goal. They all want to see future leaders. They all want to see people who are going to succeed. And the way you can show them that you're a future leader is by showing them your past successes. You can emphasize some of things that happened to you in the past that you think are like really, really, really important. I noticed that, what did I notice in my motivation letters? Sorry, what did I mention? I think it was something about, yes, like growing a company from zero, starting with $300 to register a company, and then getting cool revenues in 3 years. So they want to see past success. And another way to show your success, another way to show your background, is to provide your resume. The rule of thumb here is that if you have less than 10 years of experience, your resume should not be longer than 1 page. So don't go out there and tell them everything about yourself on 10 pages. No, this is just 1 page listing your major accomplishments. Not just, I worked here as a salesperson. As a salesperson, I had to call our clients and sell them stuff. Don't do that. Because everybody knows what a salesperson does, but nobody knows what is this particular thing about you as a salesperson. Maybe you were, exceeding plans by 50% every month. Maybe you got promoted 2x faster than other employees in that company. This is something you should focus on in your resume. And another part of your application is recommendation letters. For the MBA programs, I would suggest having two business recommendations, like maybe from your employer and from your partner, or from your employer and your client. So it's up to you to decide who knows you best. Normally, MBA programs do not like academic references because, well, this is a business program. They're preparing a future manager. They're not really interested in your academics this time. They're interested in you as a professional. Okay, your questions, guys. How to apply for an executive MBA, and which university do you recommend? Executive program is pretty much the same executive MBA in terms of the application process, because you would still need to pass your GMAT, you would still need to pass your TOEFL. The only thing is executive MBA is normally a part-time program, so you cannot do it on your student visa, and this is not a program that will be financed, so be prepared to pay full tuition fees. Duke University has a really good executive MBA program, which allows you to travel the world. People study for 1 month in the United States, then they go to Tokyo, then they go to London, and they travel around. And it's a really cool program. Harvard MBA also has an executive, Harvard Business School has an executive MBA. This is my first time to join the live stream. Yeah, by your name, I can say that you're from Asian country. Thank you so much for staying up that late. Now, many top universities have started to allow international students to do their master's degree through online mode. Again, I think I made my point on the online education. I do not believe in it. Online education, at least, it's free. First thing, it is free. I do not think you should pay for online education, maybe like a little amount of money, but some master's degrees online, they cost like $20,000. For that amount of money, you can come here for a certificate course and immerse yourself into American environment. So I'm not a big fan of online education, because you're sitting at home, you're not meeting new people, you're not getting real life experience, you're not communicating, you're not working on your language, there is a huge list. I can go on and on and on and on. I'm not a fan of online education. I would do a short-term course if you don't have enough money to do your full master's degree. I would come to the States for like 2 months, or come to the university for 2 months, and do a certificate course, not the online. Do you think that Harvard is accessible? It depends on what kind of person you are. For some people, yes. For some people, they need to work a little before trying. Getting into Harvard. I'm so sorry, guys. I will need to block those who are not using English. Okay, cost of MBA in USA, I just said depends on the university, but it can go up to $250,000. Is it possible to enter Ivy League university for an MBA with a net undergraduate degree from Germany University of Applied Science? Yes, of course. Again, it doesn't matter which university you graduated from. It has to be nationally accredited in your country or in a country where you studied. You need to pass GMAT, you need to pass TOEFL, you need to decide whether you have to was I saying? There are so many questions. I'm like, I'm reading the questions and I'm answering another question. Yeah, you would need to concentrate on your application. Doesn't matter what university you're coming from. Why do you need an MBA if I have my own company? It depends. Again, in my case, I wanted to grow it on an international level. I wanted to raise money from American investors. And I thought that if I'm in the United States, not in Russia, if I'm in the United States, if I'm networking with industry professionals, if I am learning how to run business in the States, I will have more opportunities for my company. But if you are already, but again, you see things changed when we got investment from an American investor. I decided that I no longer want to do my MBA because I'm already there running an American company. And you need to decide for yourself whether your company is running on the level that you need it to run on and whether you want to spend time on an MBA. Sometimes you don't. Which school could cost from $50K to $60K? University of Florida would cost something like that. I have 15 years of academic. Is it necessary to have a 16-year academic career? No. Why? You have to have your bachelor's degree to apply for an MBA program. Where did you take the GMAT exam? I took it in Helsinki in Finland, in Europe. But if you go to mba.com and if you create your profile there, you can actually look at the dates and times when they have the next when they have the next GMAT in your country. They run GMAT tests almost everywhere in the world in big cities. I have a 3-year bachelor's degree. That's enough. Once you get your bachelor's degree, then is it okay to pass GMAT without TOEFL? Yes, of course. No, you don't have to present. Well, you have to present both exams, but you can take GMAT first and then TOEFL. But yeah, you need to take 2 exams because one exam is English language exam. The only exception, if you've had your education from an English-speaking university, English-speaking institution from an English-speaking country, then you can request a TOEFL waiver. And by the way, MIT MBA no longer requires TOEFL. They just charge. They make decision about your language skills based on your GMAT. So no need to pass TOEFL for MIT, but of course you won't be applying just to MIT. You will have other schools, and other schools still require TOEFL. So yes, 2 exams, TOEFL and GMAT. Is it possible to have some help with all the costs? I mean, GMAT, TOEFL, etc. The only thing that could help is Opportunity Award from the Education USA. By the way, my book about admissions, where I talk a lot about the Opportunity Scholarship, will be available, I think, starting next week. So I'll give you a link. And my book will have like all of the steps that you need to take in order to apply for master's or MBA in the United States. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so you might want to Google Opportunity Award in your country, and if you get it, then they're going to cover your exam fees. What should I take, TOEFL or IELTS? Up to you. If you are applying to the United States, I would take TOEFL because there are some institutions that do not accept IELTS, but the majority of them do. So really, just decide yourself. Do you have any experience with Erasmus scholarships? Yes, just for Germany, and I went through my university, so I don't know how do you do that without, applying through the international department of your university. I'm mostly specialized in Canada and the United States. Okay. Let me look through other questions. It's almost 4 a.m. in Thailand. Oh my God. Thank you for being up so late. Yeah, I'm sorry it's so tough with all the time differences. It's so tough to pick up the right time for the webinar. This is why I just do it and then leave it on my channel for 24 hours so that everyone could see, and then I just close it. Yeah. All right. What else is here? Thank you, Marina. What is the difference between TOEFL and GMAT? I think this is something you should Google. I already talked about it today. How to improve English and speak fluently. You can try linguatrip.com/speak. This is a service where you can connect with a native speaker and just talk to them over the phone. You don't need to have your camera. You just need to have your computer with you and your headphones. So it's linguatrip.com/speak. Try that. This is really cool for practicing your English. I just want to know that I need a, okay. Oh, full financial aid for MBA. University of Florida, as I said, provides full financial aid for an MBA to select students if you're better than others. Not every university would provide it, so you would need to Google. You need to work hard on finding your list of the universities. The University of Delaware provides, but again, not to everyone. I graduated from junior high school in Jordan. How can I complete the university in America? You just apply for your bachelor's degree. Is GMAT of 700 with a 4-week preparation realistic? I think it took me 2 months to prepare for a 700 score, but it depends on where you start. One of my friends who has a really good background in mathematics, he took 2 weeks to prepare and he scored 740. I would say you have an advantage if you studied mathematics, if you're really good at maths, because it's so maths section in GMAT is pretty competitive, but not as competitive as verbal. So if you're good in maths, there is more chance you get a higher score. So yeah, if you have maths background, then you probably have better chances. San Francisco, Los Angeles, I don't know yet. I will decide within the next week or two. I would say, like, yeah, this is this question because I want to move to Los Angeles. And I still have my lease in San Francisco, which is till the end of February. So I cannot really just move out of the apartment. I have to stay there till the end of February. But there is so many things that I need to do in Los Angeles, and I keep coming here every 2 weeks. And now I've been staying in LA for more than 2 weeks in my friend's place. And I think my friends already hate me for staying so long. But again, yeah, there's so many things I need to do here. So I'm in the middle trying to decide. We're already looking at apartments in Los Angeles. So I think for start, we will practice like living 2 weeks in San Francisco, 2 weeks in LA, trying to share our apartments with somebody else. But we'll see. I don't know. Don't know yet. But there are a lot of things I need to do here. Salary after MBA in the USA. Again, as I said, they can go as high as $190,000 or even higher. Depends on the university. Do you have a video about your career from your bachelor in Russia to moving to USA? Yes. The video is called Why I Moved to the Silicon Valley. I think this is the video where I talk a lot about my journey as an immigrant, as an entrepreneur who moved from one country to another. Take a look at that video. Can a student from pre-medical background crack MBA? I don't know whether there was a lot of maths in your background, but if you're good at maths and good in English, then definitely yes. Is it important to be rich to study abroad? No, not at all. It's important to be clever, hardworking, curious, and be able to work for at least 10 hours a day, to look for universities, to chase them, to write them emails, to ask them about financial aid, to research. I just entered to LinguaTrip. Thank you. Gonna try it. Cool. Let me know how it works. The best time to call is actually now, because we have a lot of native speakers from Canada and the United States, and this is the time when they're available. We have some in Great Britain and Ireland. If it doesn't work from the first time, you will need to wait like maybe an hour and then try again. But let us know. We're always there to help. Thank you. Do we think work experience for MBA and how much? Oh, do we need work experience for an MBA? Well, I would say it's better if you have it. If you don't have it, then you have to show something else in your background that is cool enough. Because as I said at the beginning of the webinar, the average student has at least 3 years of work experience, but it's not necessary. Okay. How long does it take to earn an MBA, having a full-time job? Normally, if you do your full-time MBA, it takes 2 years, so you have to quit your job. What TOEFL course in LA can you suggest? Go to linguatrip.com, find Columbia West College. I think they have a TOEFL preparation course. Thank you for your tips. I'm telling you how it works. Okay, thank you, V. Miras. Thank you so much. Alrighty. Which universities accept international students for MBA and grant scholarship? Almost every top university would have some scholarships for international students. So if you look at the rankings, Stanford, Harvard, MIT would have some scholarships. How old are you? I am 27. Okay. What else is there? Oh, something else. When you decide on the universities, do not just take into consideration the location of the university and their ranking, because sometimes people I just want to live in California. I'm only going to apply to UC Berkeley because it's in California, Stanford, UCLA, and University of Southern California, for example. That doesn't work. You have to consider different aspects. First is, again, very important if you're going to be able to pay for it. If not, then only look for universities that provide full financial assistance. Second, compare yourself to an average profile of the student, and see whether you have more years of work experience and maybe you have something interested in your background. This is super important. And then the last one, when you are accepted to those universities, when you have offers from them, then this is the time to decide on the geography. Because again, I had an offer from Johns Hopkins, which is Baltimore, and then the University of Florida, which is Florida. And I'm like, okay, I want to go to Florida. But I only made my decision after I got my offers. So don't just go to the particular state, especially California. It's so expensive to live here. And Florida is so much cheaper, but it's also warm. So just, leave the geography choice to the very last step of your application process. Okay. All right, how can I study English with Russian teachers? We have one Russian teacher on our platform. Her name is Anastasia, and if you go to linguatrip.com/IELTS, there is Anastasia. She speaks Russian. She can teach you English. Okay, guys, the two last questions. Do you think it is better to go abroad if you already have a master's degree and apply for a PhD, or is it better to try and get a master's abroad? It depends. PhD is a 4-year program. If you have research experience, if you are willing to dedicate the next 4 years to researching, then do a PhD. If you just want to, get a 1-year education, this is master's. It is really a personal question. Like, you need to research your background. I graduated from Cardiff Metropolitan Program in Egypt. Is it acceptable in Canada? If it's accredited, then yes. What should I get for GMAT preparation? For your GMAT preparation, the first thing that you should do is Google. So look, open your YouTube, which is already there, and type in Lingua Marina GMAT. And there is a video how I scored 700 in GMAT. And I have all the resources below that video and all the core books that you need to have. Okay. Last question. Which website would you recommend to transfer foreign grades to American grades? Do not do that unless your university requires it. And normally your universities do not require them. You do not need to transfer anything. And it's called evaluation. If they require that for the application process, then they will give you the websites. And two websites are ece.org and wes.org. And that's it. Okay, were you offered a full ride scholarship? Yes, I was. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for joining me today on my live stream. Please, right now, when you're still here, let me know what you want the next topic to be for the next live stream. Write the next topic down in the chat. So I would look through it before through the chat before the next webinar, and I would decide on the topic because I want it to be useful for you. And very interesting. Thank you so much. I'm waiting to hear from you about the topic for the next webinar, and I will see you in, a week. And I'm also going to release a video about the new iPhone. So stay tuned. I'm going to record the second part using the iPhone camera so you would know what the video looks like. And yeah, and you're going to see it hopefully tomorrow if I have time to edit it today. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.